Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. I came across a really interesting lady who's got a fascinating business called Gems by Christine. Her name is Christine Calazano. She is the founder and creator of Gems by Christine. And it's an interesting company. It's a full-service online jewelry and accessory store. Christine designs and creates custom natural stone and pearl jewelry, along with offering a full collection of fashionable jewelry for day, evening, black tie, and travel. She also designs and makes custom embellished jean jackets and blazers with fun, hip, fashionable slogans. Unbelievable. And I've seen, Christine, lots of your posts. They are really beautiful and very fashionable, and I quite enjoy seeing some of your creations. So thank you very much for doing this. Tell me a little bit about how you got in this business, if you could.
So I think I've always had a love affair with fashion and jewelry since I was a little girl. We were just talking about cleaning out our houses, and I've been also going through my parents' home, and come across all these old pictures, and it's so funny because my mother also sewed, and she taught me how to sew. So I'm able to do a lot of my jean jackets. I put the print, the fabric on the back to embellish them. But I look back at the photos, and I was already a little fashionista as a small child. So
What was the big attraction? Why did you want to become a fashionista?
I don't, I think it was just within me. I just loved, I remember Easter I loved that my mother used to sew us matching dresses, and I had the gloves and the hat and the shoes. And I love the whole dress up process. And I guess I just enjoyed always looking nice and being pretty. And it was part of who my mother was. My mother was beautiful inside and out, but she took pride in her appearance, and I guess she raised me to do the same. And her word of advice when I got married was, don't you dare turn into one of those like no makeup, sweat pantsuit wearing housewives. She's like, I want you to make sure that you put makeup on every day and you dress nice. And so I guess that's pretty much how I was raised.
And
And
how
it
did
just has
that
remained.
morph into a business?
So it started out actually as a means to give back. My youngest son was diagnosed with a very rare form of kidney cancer when he was a baby, and his prognosis was not good. They told us most likely he would go into complete kidney failure at the age of 10 and would have to have a transplant. And thankfully, he responded to drug therapy. He went into remission and remained in remission. And during that time, I had to take, he was on a lot of medication. I had to take him to Children's Hospital twice a week to have all of his vitals checked. And it was the most heart-wrenching experience to have to go to Children's Hospital twice a week. And even, as much as I was devastated with my son's diagnosis, it it almost puts things into perspective when you see other, like someone that has a more traumatic situation. I saw children that were cancer patients, that were confined to wheelchairs, that were nonverbal, and it was truly, truly heart wrenching. And it made me realize, as bad as my situation, and this has kind of been my motto moving forward, that is, regardless of how bad any situation is, there's always someone out there that has it worse or could possibly be worse. So I think it made me kind of look at any adverse situation that came into my life, that to be thankful that it's not something worse, and hopefully it can, become better. And miraculously, he recovered. And so after a year after him staying in remission, I went back to the doctor and said I would really love to get back out of gratitude. And he put me in contact with the Kidney Neurology Foundation and started fundraising, doing an annual walk. And then the year after, I met the director and told him I'd like to get more involved and give back. And he said, "You have full reign. You can do whatever you want." And because of my love of fashion and jewelry, I founded a fashion luncheon, and I would have six vendors come in, various vendors. I had a fur vendor come in. I had accessories, and they would donate a portion of their sales back to the charity. And I would do raffles and live auction. And then I assembled a jewelry collection, and I would basically donate the entire proceeds back to the charity. So it was in the beginning just a vehicle just to give back. And in the beginning, I found a supplier that did like natural stone jewelry. Like at that time, the large statement necklaces and bracelets were in. And I found someone that did actually in India that did like these natural stone pieces that were like semi-precious. And it took off. And then in that time, like about 10 years ago, the beaded jewelry started to become popular, and I started beading my own jewelry. I pretty much self-taught myself how to bead and add different variations of accents into the jewelry. And so it went from like beaded bracelets to necklaces and that's and then since then I've donated probably I can't even I haven't turned down one charity. I have donated to so many charities for their silent auction. So it's been very rewarding for me and a sense of satisfaction to be able to give back in a sense of through my creativity. And then it's also nice to see that, people really love when I do offer the auction items, and they're very well received.
And that grew into actually providing the business and the products online.
Yes, so it just kind of took a little bit of a life of its own. My hobby turned into this little business, and finally during COVID, I had the time to develop a website, and so I've been primarily just doing. I've been a full-time mom up until. It's funny. I started my career actually started out in tech sales, and then but I've dedicated my last 20 years to raise my boys, and now they're finally in college. And I realized I've been given the gift of time, and I'm really excited now to be able to fully like immerse myself into this and truly see it to grow.
Fantastic. And you also do complimentary styling. What's that?
So a lot of women have a difficult time. I've had a lot of women approach me when I'm out, and they're like, "Oh my God, I love the entire assemble that you have on." And I've had literally people buy everything off me, and they're like, "I have an event tomorrow night, or I have this." So I have a lot of people now that just send me if they're going to a gala. I've done brides, I've done mother of the bride. And it's great with the internet and phones and pictures that they can just take a picture of their dress, and then I'll assemble a collection that I feel would best, look, that would look nice with the dress and their personality and we basically do exchange of photos, and then they pick what they like, and so it's all done over the phone. And so it's fun I truly enjoy it. Especially the brides are really fun to accessorize, and mother of the brides, because they're very excited. It's a beautiful event. And then also with brides, I've done bridesmaid jewelry. And now this whole bachelorette craze has become very popular, and it's a new part of my business where I'm doing bachelorette jewelry, where I've done, like this is one, for instance. This is like it's a like a CZ personalized pendant. So I've done them in necklaces. It comes in a bracelet form, and then all the bridesmaid would get like something matching. It depends on what the theme is. They've done beach themes, so I've done like little palm tree. I've done personalized beach bags for everyone, and so it's been a fun little addition to my business working with these brides, because they're all so overly excited and they're young love, and it's so sweet to work with them.
And do you do this yourself? Do you manufacture it out? How do you actually supply yourself?
I know I found I have a wonderful variety of suppliers, and some of the things I make that are custom, but most of the beach bags, and I've done beach towels, and I just have all done through a supplier.
Fascinating that you created this business. If people are interested, do you have a website that they can go to?
Yes, it's Gems by Christine.
And you also post a lot of it on your social media. What's your social media handles that you can suggest to
It's
people?
it's the same, Gems by Christine.
Fascinating business that you've created. We're going to take a break for some messages and come back more in just 2 minutes and hear a little bit more from Christine about her business and her travels, her fashion, and maybe a little bit about her mom, because that's an interesting story too. Stay with us, everyone. Back in 2 minutes. Welcome back, everyone, to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. My guest tonight is Christine Calzolano. She is the founder and creator of Gems by Christine. It's a full-service online jewelry and accessory store. And one of the reasons why I wanted to check in with Christine is it's amazing some of the people, some of the entrepreneurs that have created businesses, and particularly over the pandemic, where a lot of people were stuck at home. They used that as an opportunity to create a business. And frankly, people that were going through changes in life. And I think maybe, Christine, some of that is applicable to you as well. But they've created some really interesting businesses, and they've recreated themselves in that regard. And so I wanted to check in with Christine to find out, what was the catalyst for this, how she did it, and what it's given to her in her life. Because you lead a very active life, at least from the little I know about you. You're traveling all the time. You're skiing. You're playing sports. Tell me a little bit about your life, if you could, and how busy it is.
It's very busy, but I enjoy that. I guess I've been active my entire life. I started off as a child. I started swimming competitively year round when I was 5. And then I also ran track in high school and junior high. And I've just maintained this active, healthy lifestyle. My parents both immigrated from Germany. So as a young child, I spent most of my childhood summers there. And I think I was introduced to culture and other countries at a very young age. And I think that's what's kind of fueled my zest for travel and experiencing new cities and new adventures. And I'm always up for exploring and learning more about a culture, and I think it's the most fascinating thing to be able to experience a different culture and see how people live and their foods. And it's also very nice to go to a different country, and how welcoming a lot of these countries are for tourism. So
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up actually in Lafayette, Indiana.
Okay. And what took you to New York?
I was living in Chicago, and I met my ex-husband there, and he took a job in New York, and we moved in 2000. Lived in the city for 5 years, had both our children there, have 2 boys. And then after my second child, moved to the suburbs, and I was originally in tech sales, so I ended up dedicating myself full time to raising my boys. And during that time, I volunteered a lot for the school. I actually developed a wellness program for the elementary school, and health and wellness is a big part of my life as well. And then I volunteer for various charities, and that's the charity aspect is pretty much, like I said, where I started my business, where my business was founded from. And then it's just, I found that I have a very creative side, and it's been an amazing outlet for me to be able to create. And it's also a lot of satisfaction. I love to see the reactions of people when they receive something that especially when I personalized or custom made something for them. And so it's very gratifying as well.
You call yourself a glamour queen. Why a glamour queen?
It's interesting. I coined myself more as like the glamour queen meets the great outdoors. So I have 2 sides of me. And it was interesting. I was recently thinking about, like, how is it that I have this love of glamour and fashion and city and, all the excitement. And I think it goes back. And then I also love the mountains. I love outdoors. I love skiing. I love hiking. Anything outdoor activity, I love. And I think it goes back to my childhood. My mother was my mother, my grandmother, my aunt were all very fashionable, took pride in their appearance, and I was raised, I guess, to be the same way. So I think I kind of contribute all that back to my mother. And my mother was from Germany. She was from Bremen, which is a large city in Germany. And I remember going there as a child, and I loved, my grandparents lived in a walk up. I loved all the taxis, the outdoor cafes, the fashion, the stores, the boutiques. And I remember just being so in awe of it all. And then we would go down south to where my father was from. He was from Bavaria in the Alps, and we would go mountain climbing, and just to see the nature and the wild animals while climbing. And, once you're on the top of the mountain, you realize you're like, oh my God, this is God's country. There's nothing more beautiful than to be on the top of a mountain and overlooking a gorgeous view. So I think that my childhood is pretty much molded me into who I am today, and my passions that I have.
You told me a cute story about your mother not letting you out of the house in heels. Can you tell us all that?
So my mom always wanted me to um, I say she put me almost through her own finishing school. I learned how to, eat properly and well mannered. And um, she always wore high heels. And I was always, as a child, like, in her closet wearing her high heels. And so when I got my first pair of heels, she basically made me walk back and forth in the living room and showed me how to walk in heels gracefully. And I had to practice until I was able to walk in my heels gracefully, and then I could wear them outside.
It is interesting that you're this combination of outdoors and glamour. Is that unique, do you think?
I think so. I think a lot of people, when they first meet me, are surprised that I have this, that I am very athletic. I'm very active. I'm very outdoorsy. I'll try any activity, and I have hiking boots. I, I have a house in the mountains, and my boys are both competitive skiers, and so I've spent a lot of time um, out in the mountains, and I change, and I just said I was just there for Christmas, and I had to like basically hang up my glam for flannel for a couple of weeks. So
Hang up your glam for flannel.
flannel. But
Is there,
also becoming a skier, I developed a ski line. So I have a snowflake collection that has done very well in the ski mountain community, because skiers all love snow. And so I have developed these like cute little like snowflake necklaces that have like little snowflakes on them, and little snowflake bracelets. So these are very popular in the ski community.
and do you do that at a store in the ski community, or do you do it online, or both?
Both. I've worked with some of the stores up in Vermont, and then I sell them online. When I'm there, I also do trunk shows as well.
What's a trunk show?
So trunk shows, like I'll bring some of my jewelry, and I'll host a group of ladies, or I'll have one of my friends will host a group of their friends, and they come over and shop, and have a glass of wine, and mingle. So it's a great way to get a group of women together, socialize, and then also do a little shopping.
I've seen lots of pictures of you at galas in New York City. That is so different, it seems, than hiking or skiing in the mountains of Vermont.
I have to say I do. I do love to attend galas. I love to there's so many wonderful charities out there, and it's so nice to be able to support them. And there is an element that I truly love to get dressed up, and um I joke around, if I could be in the evening gown every day, I probably would.
You would want to wear an evening gown every day.
Well, my feet might hurt after a while, but no, I mean, I do love to get dressed up. I truly enjoy it. And I mean, I'm more mindful in my day-to-day life. And during the day, I do wear comfortable shoes, and I have like a day, I'm definitely more casual during the day, but I truly enjoy dressing up, and putting outfits together and accessorizing. I think, I tend to wear more black, mostly black, and I wear solid colors. But I love to accessorize with my jewelry and handbags, and that's kind of where I show my pop of color or my flair, is through my jewelry.
So, the whole sort of gala scene died, or at least took a break during COVID. Is it back with a vengeance?
Yes, I think it definitely is back. There's the charity events have come back, and it's interesting. I've definitely have seen. It seems to be a little bit more on the casual side, but I think that people do miss, more so women. I was just actually I have a meeting this afternoon with a designer that I'm looking to partner with, and it seems that it's definitely, our society has become more casual, but women still want to dress. They still want to look pretty. They still want to wear nice clothes and get dressed up. So I think that the women are going to continue to drive fashion. Um, and I think that the galas will, there is something about dressing up and having the opportunity to wear a long gown and a tuxedo. And I mean, I just went to a wedding recently and it was black tie, and it was so beautiful to see everyone dressed up. And it's definitely like I like the sense of tradition. I like the sense of old world, and I hope it doesn't die. I hope that people continue to dress up and take pride in how they look, because we can wear jeans and be casual all day long, but it's nice to have an occasion that you can truly, pull out all the stops and wear something fabulous.
I probably have 100 ties, and I think I wore a tie like less than a half a dozen times, maybe just over half a dozen times last year. I have 3 or 4 black ties, and I think I only went to one event last year with a black tie. And I don't think I've worn a lot of suits. It's been sport jackets and slacks, because the world has gotten a lot more casual, hasn't it?
Yes, and in a way, I think it's I mean, it's all the result of the pandemic, and I feel it's kind of sad. There is something um, distinguished, especially like I love to see a man in a suit and a tux, and I love, and maybe it's because I'm a little bit more old school, but I I I think it's very attractive to see a man dressed up, and I hope it doesn't go any more casual than it is. But I do miss how things used to be and how. I mean, I'm sure every man out there is so happy not to have to wear a tie anymore, but it is I find it very attractive to see a man nicely dressed.
You said you also went through a process of separation anxiety with stuff as you downsize. What was that all about?
So I just sold my house after being there for 18 years, and it was definitely one of my girlfriends. I was overwhelmed with everything, like just downsizing and trying to figure out what to keep, what not to keep. And, originally you want to keep everything. Everything has sentimental value. And one of my girlfriends gave me a great piece of advice. And she said, don't let your stuff own you. You need to you've enjoyed something for so long, let someone else enjoy it now. And that was really a great piece of advice. And it was able to help me detach from a lot of things that I was, given over the years. And, everything has sentimental value, but you only can keep so much, and you don't want to clutter your life with stuff. And it was a little bit of a cleansing process, and it's been nice to move forward. And my apartment now is like very white and sparse, and my son said it's girly because it was hard to have like white furniture with 2 boys. And so it's nice to finally just start with a clean slate. And I think your styles change over the years. And so my style now is like I like everything crisp and clean and neat, and more like a sophisticated look.
So how have you adapted to moving out of your house that you lived in for 18 years into an apartment?
It was definitely I have to say the transition was very emotional. I was very emotional going through the whole, process of cleaning out and purging. And then there was also an emotional detachment of losing your home that you raised your children in. And so that was also very difficult. But there's also been I'm divorced, and it's also been for me like kind of a new chapter of my life to kind of start with a new slate, and to move to apartment. And it's a house is great, but it's also a lot of work. And we used to call them like the one-time non-reoccurring expense that happened, like something always happened every month. And apartment living is so nice and so easy. And I love my apartment. I have a loft, and I live in a high amenities building, so it has a pool and a gym. I'm right on the water, so I'm a runner, so I love my running path, and it's very scenic. And it's I think that it's there's different phases of life, and this is kind of like my next phase. And I hope someday to get a home again if I meet someone. And but for right now, this is a perfect place for me to be. And but it's definitely and have it's been very lonely, to be honest. I'm used to having my children around, and especially my oldest went away 2 years ago, and my youngest just went to college this year. And it's definitely a transition to go from having someone always at home needing you, you caring for them, cooking for them, everything, or just having someone there, to being completely alone. So that's been a huge transition. But thankfully, I have lots of friends here, and I've been keeping myself busy, um, and now I have all this time to really focus on my business and growing it more.
Well, and it sounds like it's a really a dynamic business and a really interesting one that you enjoy, and that's fantastic. If your passion is being a glamour girl and a glamour queen and fashionista, and you get to do that for a business and consult to people, that sounds great. Remind us the website that we go to if they're interested in checking out your wares, and or if they want to follow you on social media, how they connect up with you.
So my website is Gems by Christine, and my Instagram as well, Gems by Christine.
Awesome. Christine, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. It's been fun getting to know you and your story. I love the story about your mom teaching you how to walk in heels. And it's interesting. I do think that there's this. I've interviewed a couple of different people that say there is this real desire that some females have to be very feminine and glamorous, but also, whether it's have a business or a job or be outdoors, and that in the past they've felt that they had to choose one or the other, and it sounds like you figured out a great way to do both, and then also the inspiration of as you've gone through, whether it be the what I can't imagine situation with your son and his health challenges, and then starting a business, and frankly, lots of us had the issue of being alone during COVID and wanting to start something, and you did it. And so, congratulations for launching your business and being successful at that.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We're going to take a break and come back with another interesting story in just 2 minutes. Stay with us, everybody.